Hi everyone, welcome back to Fun with Maths with me, Beejal. Today we're going to be looking at Roman numerals and we're going to use our Roman numerals to do an escape room. Have you ever done an escape room before? So escape rooms are places that you can go to where you have to solve a series of riddles and clues to try and escape from the room that you're in. So we're going to try and do that online today, where you have to try and get to the next slide and ultimately try and end the slideshow by solving all of my Roman numeral riddles. So are you ready? Let's get started. So what you're going to need for today's lesson, you're going to need a pen or a pencil to write with, something to write on, and of course your brain. Pause the video now while you get yourself ready and go and get those things. Okay, so this is what the structure of our lesson is going to be like. We'll start off thinking about what are Roman numerals. We'll move on to whether Roman numerals are still used today. We'll learn some Roman numerals and we'll end off with my escape room challenge. So what are Roman numerals? So Roman numerals are a series of letters that the Romans used as their numerical system. Have you ever seen Roman numerals anywhere? Have a think, pause the video, and have a chat to anyone who may be sitting with you, or make some notes on your piece of paper. Is there anywhere that you might have seen Roman numerals before? I wonder if you've come up with any of the places that I found. So you can see over here, many clocks that you might see might still have Roman numerals on them. So you can see one I've got here. We can see Roman numerals going around the clock. And another one we could see on some old buildings. So you can see next to the word New York, we've got some Roman numerals written in the corner. So we've got one rule that we really need to remember when we're talking about Roman numerals, and that is when a letter is placed after a greater value, we add it. When a letter is placed before a greater value, we subtract it. Now, right now, that might seem a little bit confusing, but as we go through the slides, hopefully that will make a little bit more sense. So let's start learning some Roman numerals. We're going to start off with our numbers 1 to 5. So it starts off really simple. Number 1 is just the letter I. Number 2, I. Any guesses for what number 3 might be? You're right, I, and it makes it sound a bit like a pirate, doesn't it? I. Now, I've jumped all the way to number 5. 5 is V. Now, there's a reason I've left number 4 out. We know up to number 1, 2, 3 is I, and I. Number 5, we jump to V. Now, this is where we need to put in one of our rules from the top of the slide. When I go to 4, it's actually IV. Let's think about why that is. So we know that 5 is V. This time I'm putting an I before the V. And my rule at the bottom here says when a letter is placed before a greater value, so my greater value is V, and I am placing an I before it, we subtract it. So this basically means 1 less than 5, which is 4. Pause the video and see if you can remember some of those. Okay, do you think you've managed to remember them? Let's see if you can try my first activity. We've got a mix and match. So you can see I've still got my numbers 1 to 5 over here, but this time I've muddled my Roman numerals underneath it. So pause the video, see if you can write down which number matches to which Roman numeral, and come back when you're ready to go through the answers. Okay, shall we see how you've got on? So we've got our numbers there. Number 1 should have been matched to I. Number 2 to I. Number 3, I. Number 4, IV. Hopefully you remember that. 1 less than 5. And number 5 is V. Right, if you found that you did that okay, you're ready to move on to the next slide. If you found that a little bit confusing, maybe go back, try that again, and then come and join us when you're ready to continue. So we've got our same rule at the top of our slide. Let's move on to our next 5 numbers. So we've got the numbers 6 to 10. So just think back, we knew that number 5 was, yes, you're right, it was V. So number 6, really simply, is VI. So we're thinking about our top rule over here. When a letter is placed after a greater value, we add it. So my greater value is V, because that's 5, and I'm placing the I after it. which means I'm adding it on. So basically means 1 more than 5. So if 6 is VI, what do you think 7 might be? It's VII. Basically means 5 plus 1 plus 1, which I know is 7. Okay, any guesses what 8 might be? Okay, well done. It is VIII. And again now, I'm going to jump all the way to 10. 10 in Roman numerals we say as X. Think back to what happened when we did number 4. Number 5 was V, so number 4 was IV, 1 less than 5. If I know number 10 is X, what do you think number 9 would be? 1 less than 10. So I would write it as IX. Okay, pause the video, see if you can remember these, ready for your activity on the next slide. Okay, you ready to try the activity? Okay, I've got another mix and match activity. So I've gone back to the first 5 numbers as well. Again, pause the video and see if you can match up the numbers to the Roman numerals. Come back when you're ready to go through the answers. Okay, shall we see how you got on? So number 6 should have been matched to VI. Number 4 is IV. So look at the difference between these. Number 6 is VI. I've got the 5 first and the 1 after, so 5 plus 1. Number 4, the I comes first and then the V, which means 1 less than 5, which is 4. Number 1 should have been the letter I. Number 9 is IX, which is 1 less than 10. And number 7 is VII. How did you find that? Okay, if you're feeling good and you think that you've managed to know your numbers 1 to 10, you can continue. So again, we've got our rule at the top. Now, if we've understood that rule and we've seen it between 1 to 10, we should be able to find this next lot a little bit easier. We're now going to go up to the number 15. Now think back, we knew what number 10 was. What was number 10 in Roman numerals? Well done, it was X. If 10 was X, what do you think 11 would be? Good, it would be XI. If XI is 11, what would 12 be? XII. Okay, now your turn. Say to the screen, what would number 13 be? XIII. Well done. So we've got 3 I's, which is 10 plus 3 is 13. Again, I'm going to jump to my end one, which is 15. I know that X is 10 and V is 5. 10 plus 5 is 15. So if 15 is XV, what do you think 14 would be? Pause the video and write it down on your piece of paper. Okay, shall we see if you were correct? 14 would be XIV. X is our 10 and IV is 4. Have a look at these next 5 Roman numerals. When you're ready, go on to the next slide to try the activity. So we've got a mix and match activity again, looking at all the numbers from 0 to 15. I've picked 5 random ones. Let's see if you can match them up. Pause the video and write them down on your piece of paper. Okay, shall we see how you got on? So number 5 should have been matched to V. Number 12 is XII. 14 is XIV, so 10 and 4. 3 is III. And 15 is XV. Now let's make this a little bit harder. We're now going to move on to some multiples of 10. So again, I'm going to look back at what I know already. If I know that 10 is X, can you guess what 20 might be? XX. It's just 10 and 10. If 20 is XX, what could 30 be? XXX. Well done. Now this is where it gets a little bit trickier, but let's see if you've managed to remember our rule. 40 is XL, which means I can see the X's come first, so it's 10 less than, well done, 10 less than 50, which means 50 must be L. So 50 is L, 40 is 10 less than L, so 10 less than 50. What do you think 60 might be? Pause the video, write it down on your piece of paper. Let's see if you got it right. 60 would be LX, so 50 plus 10. And the last one we're going to learn is 100, and 100 is the letter C. A nice way to remember that is that there are 100 years in 1 century. C for century. Pause the video, have a look at these, and let's see if you're ready for the activity on the next slide. Okay, let's have a look. We've got our mix and match activity. You know what to do. Pause the video and have a go at matching up the numbers with the Roman numerals. Come back when you're ready to go through the answers. Okay, should we see how you got on? So number 2 would be II, 60, LX, so 50 plus 10, C, sorry, I've just told you the answer. 100 is C, 13 is XIII, and lastly 40 is XL, so 10 less than 50. Okay, I think you're ready for the next part of our lesson. We're now going to do a quick quiz. So I'm going to read the questions out to you, and you can pause the video and then have a go at answering the questions. So our first one is, what is 56 as a Roman numeral? So you know what 50 is, you know what 6 is, you now just need to put them together. What is 29 as a Roman numeral? And what is 45 as a Roman numeral? At the bottom, we've got, what number does LXII represent? What number does XXIII represent? And what number does LXXII represent? So pause the video, write down your answers on a piece of paper, and come back when you're ready to go through the answers. Okay, shall we see how you got on? So, what is 56 as a Roman numeral? It should have been LVI. I know L is 50 and VI is 6, so LVI together is 56. What is 29 as a Roman numeral? XX is my 20, IX is 9, so XXIX. What is 45 as a Roman numeral? I know that 40 is XL and 5 is V, so XLV. What number does LXII represent? I know LX is 60 and II is 2, so my answer is 62. What number does XXIII represent? I know XX is 20 and III is 3, which gives me 23. And lastly, what number does LXXII represent? I know LXX is 70 because L is 50, XX is 20, and II is 2, so my answer is 72. How did you get on? Are you ready for our escape room? Let's see if you managed to make it to the end of the slides. Okay, so we're starting off in a lift. Let's have a look what it says. Be glad you came to have a go at this game. At the lift you begin, you must now type these digits in. V, IX, II, and VII. Pause the video. Write down what you think the code for the lift is. Shall we see if we've made it through? Right, hopefully you've written down the code 5927. Let's see where the lift takes us. Down the corridor we go, even though it's dark and damp so. To get into the light, these digits you must write. LVI, XXIII, XLVI. Pause the video and write down what digits you think we need to write down to get into the light. Let's see if we've made it to the next room. Hopefully you've written down the digits 61, 23 and 46. Let's see what happens when we get into the light. Into a room with lights that are blue. Where would I find the next clue? Look all around for the letter B. There we must type these 3. So have a look at the picture. Can you find the letter B? Once you've found it, write in what numbers these Roman numerals represent. Pause the video and write it down on your piece of paper. Let's see if we've got it correct. Hopefully you've written down numbers 90, 18 and 21. Let's move on to the next room. Gone we have into the past. Only those who can decipher this have ever surpassed. Can you decipher what these Roman numerals are? Pause the video, write it down on your piece of paper for us to get through to the next room. Let's see if you've managed to get it correct. Hopefully you've written down the numbers 217, 161 and 24. Let's move on. Alas, the exit key you have found. Tread carefully as you step across the uneven ground. Head to the door, but not so quick. You must enter this code for the lock to unclick. Oh, that is a long code. Are you going to be able to figure out what that code is for us to escape this room? Pause the video and write down what you think the code is. Do you think you've got it? Are we going to manage to win the escape room? Hopefully you've written down the number 378. If you have, then well done. You made it to the end and you have done some amazing work on Roman numerals. I hope you enjoyed that. If you really enjoyed that, you could even try creating your own Roman numeral inspired challenge, and I would love for you to share that with me. So if you do have a go, please send it to me so I can see if I can win one of your challenges. Thank you for taking part. Bye.